Sorry. Yeah. Put the big grippers away. Come on. I don't know why you're into that. Like, why you were looking at it like that. Fucking weirdo. Yeah. Anyways.
Welcome to Broken Boys.
Yes.
This is episode 90.
Holy shit.
I'm Colin.
And I'm Mike.
Today we'll be doing our latest episode in our favorite series,
our hit series,
Artist Analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And this week we're going over the discography of 21 Pilots,
a band we've never talked about before.
Never even heard of them before.
Yeah, this is our first time listening to all the.
I put them on the wheel because I thought their name was interesting. And,
yeah,
you know, and then
there's only 2 of them. Where are the other 19?
What's the deal? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you play that?
Play what?
The riff on the bass.
Oh, the sign definitely not on the bass. I can kind of
impromptu Seinfeld.
My headphones are probably the dummy. I think there is a bass. Probably do. Is it only down there? Okay.
The bass is low register, dumbass. How do you know
that was it? I played it completely accurate.
Yeah, welcome to Broken Boys.
Yes. This is a weird start to this fucking episode.
It really is. Yeah. So
maybe I'll do a little cut there. I don't know. We'll
see. No, keep it in.
Okay.
Fuck it, we're doing it live.
Fuck it, yes.
But, you know, happy Thanksgiving week to all the MILFs out there.
Yes, all our MILFs.
All our MILFs. That's our fan base. That's,
yes.
That's what we call them.
Absolutely.
Yes.
What
MILFs.
else would they call them?
Right. You know, hope if you don't, you know, celebrate Thanksgiving, hope you have a normal Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Hope your Thursday's okay. You probably get a day off of work. Maybe.
Hope you have a nice Black Friday, and that's the case. I'm sure you enjoy that.
nice bit of shopping.
Yeah.
Chopin. My favorite composer.
Chopin. Yeah.
It's IN, so it's Chopin.
Did you know he was buried in France, but because he was Polish, he wanted his heart sent to Poland, and his heart is now like on display in Poland.
You know they have Napoleon's penis somewhere in a museum too?
Yeah. It's kind of the same thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Except I think one of them was willing. I'm not sure if the other one was.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see, but
yeah.
Time will tell.
Yes.
All right. Anyway, you know, happy Thanksgiving week.
Mm-hmm.
Hope you're having a good one. People off of school, hope you're having a good time. But the majority of us are MILFs.
Yes.
So, hope you're cooking nice meals.
Yeah.
Hope you're having a nice, relaxing week with your kids home.
Yeah.
But we're gonna talk about a band that you probably don't even care about. So
shout out to you, MILFs.
We love you.
Yeah.
But before we do that, how's your week been, Michael?
It's been a long week.
I think you've started the episode with that for the past month.
It's been a long month. Yeah, I mean, it's been fine for the most part. A lot of my... I shouldn't say a lot of, because I still got a lot of stress to go. But a good chunk of my stress was this last Tuesday, and knowing how the Tuesday was going to go. Because not only is that my busiest day for classes, just normally, I usually have class from around, like... Well, I mean, we eat lunch at 11:30, so that's like an ease into my day. And then... I have something all the way up until 6 p.m. So it's like, it's a long chunk of just, stuff to do. But on top of that, us composition students had a performance at 7:30 that night, and we had a rehearsal at 6:30. So I basically did that rehearsal, ran to my car, drove it to where it needed to be parked, and then dressed myself, and then performed.
You don't usually dress yourself.
Right? Yeah, not usually. It was a special occasion. I figured
Vince usuly dresses you.
Yeah.
Picks out your clothes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he usually comes in here and I'm like, Vince, I don't know what to wear. Just make my butt look big. Yeah, that kind of shit. And
helps you shower too.
Yeah, yeah. I'm too lazy to.
Don't forget to shampoo, Michael. You know,
I'm too lazy for the body wash. But yeah, so that made my day go from 11:30 to 9 o'clock with no break and no dinner. Woo, woo, woo. But the performance went well. I got a lot of compliments on my piece and my performers who played it. It was a medley of themes for the film that I'm composing. I'm probably gonna upload a clip of it to my scores channel. So I may leave an additional link in the description for that if I do that by the time this episode airs. But yeah, that happened. But my family came down for that, and that was really nice. You know, they went out to dinner beforehand. They're like, "Hey, you want to come with us?" I'm like, literally can't. Yeah, my parents came and my grandparents, and that was really nice. But as we were leaving and saying goodbye, my dad's like, "Oh, I got something for you, by the way." I was like, "Oh, okay." And followed them to their car. And he put
9mm.
Fucking sucked. And they had a cooler or whatever. He's like, I know you've had a really busy day, you didn't really get a chance to have dinner. Pulls out a bag of Raising Cane's. I'm like, oh! I think I literally was like, oh my god. Like I was hungry, and he pulls out like my crave food pretty much. It was like 5 tenders and like 3 sauces. I'm like, holy shit. And that was low-key the highlight of my night, because I was not expecting that at all. Because like they went to like a Mexican restaurant before, and I was like, oh, maybe he got me like a meal or something from there. I saw Cane's, I was like, that's even better. I gotta be honest. I know you find it a little overrated.
Well,
but...
you know, I had it a second time.
Oh, okay.
A little while. I forget when it was, over the summer, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it grew on me the second time. So.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I just craved that sauce, and the tenders are pretty good too. But like, it was just that was the chef's kiss to that night. But that was a really fucking long day, and that bled into Wednesday, me being really tired, and then whatever. But overall, like the week has been fine. I have a lot of shit to do in the next few days, but at least I don't have school and have to wake up really fucking early. I can just me as long as I need to, and then
honk shoe.
Yeah, honk shoe. Yes. Yeah, that's pretty much like it for like my week. There was a thing I did want to update on, and this happened last Friday. So I hate when shit happens right after the podcast. But I talked about the Quadeca album last week and how I was really enjoying it. But something kind of compelled me on last Friday night to just like I was like really in that music mood. So like I like turned off all the lights in here, put on my headphones, and like just really took in the thing and like had the lyrics in front of me for the first time as well. And that gave me a whole new level of appreciation for the album, because I don't know, like especially on a lyrical basis. I talked last week about how it's a concept album of him like being a ghost and like seeing his life or whatever from the afterlife. But I didn't quite understand a lot of the like darker themes to it. So for instance, he's a ghost because he took his own life. And a lot of the album is like talking about like the regret of doing that and like being in purgatory and like seeing his family mourning and shit. And like Born Yesterday, the song that I had as my song of the week last week, I didn't fully understand the impact of that track either, because while I thought the bridge was like really beautiful and great singing and all that, like literally lyrics of like seeing his mother mourning or whatever, saying like I could be there with you right now, and like I should have just saved the dates or whatever, did it another time. And like I don't know, something about I'm trying to remember like specific ones, but like there's a lot of just like little detailed lyrics about shit, like his family's looking to the sky when they don't realize he's like right next to them. I don't know, something about the imagery, like, you may even hear my voice right now. For some reason, it, like, gets to me a lot when it comes to that topic. And, like, it gave me a whole new appreciation for it. I sobbed through fucking Born yesterday when I listened to it. And I don't know. It really, even though I liked it a lot last week, it grew on me even more. And I think it's really one of the best albums of the year. So I just want to give a little update on that, because I thought... That was a big listen for me last Friday. But yeah, very good. You should check that out if you haven't already. Definitely listen with like a pair of headphones. Lyrics could maybe help too. I don't know. It's a good album. Yeah, but anyway, how are you doing this week?
I'm fine. You know, I worked, did school, got my hours cut at work. Yep. Which was fun. My boss texts the group chat and she's like, "Hey, so I got in trouble for being too many hours over last week, so people are gonna get their hours cut." And then every day I worked got cut by an hour. Mm-hmm. So I went from like 5 to 10 to 5 to 9 on Tuesday, and then 5 to 9 to 5 to 8, and then 5 to 8 to 5 to 7. So was not the best, but yesterday I was able to, Kyle texted me and he was like, "Hey, you want to come in an hour early or stay an hour late?" I was like, "Yeah, I can come an hour early."
I don't got the time for that. Yeah. I'm busy.
I got 3 hours in, but
nice.
And then Mike showed up, and I yelled at him. So
yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, other than that, just been, knee deep in God of War Ragnarok. Mm-hmm. Fucking love that game. Made me cry with just a little hug last night. Damn. And, fuck, dude. Like, the whole thing is, like, Kratos and Atreus are kind of, like, separated a little bit for some of the story. Mm-hmm. And then they reunited. And, Atreus had made a mistake. And then, it was after a big fight. And they kind of came out of the fog. And Kratos was like, "What happened?" Yeah. Boy, what happened? And Atreus just like drops his bow and hugs him, and I went, "Oh!" Because that affection was not seen at all, and has not been seen. So it got to me a little bit, and then I've been watching Community.
Sorry, just real quick, I wanted to add. Moist Critical just uploaded a moist meter for God of War 2, and I didn't watch it because, again, I still don't really want spoilers for that game, because I'll play the first one and that one at some point probably. But he gave it a 95%, which is really fucking high for him. I was like, oh shit.
Well, it's so good.
Yeah. It's so good. I knew people were liking it, and I was just curious how much he liked it. I was like, oh goddamn. He said it was like a strong 95 too. So like, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Like the first one's amazing, but the second one, oh my god, the story's so good. And like, they give you a new weapon, and I'm like, what? It's so sick. Yeah. I love it so much. I'm like 21 hours in, but like some of that's like going to side missions and stuff. It's not all story, but so just if you got a PS5 or PS4 even, just do yourself a favor, play the first God of War, and then play Ragnarok, dude. Your PS4 might sound like a fucking helicopter playing Ragnarok, but
yeah. Is it on PS4?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna be the so you might have to turn the volume up a lot, but either way, play it.
Cancel out the noise of your system breaking.
Yeah. But like, I decided to like dive into Community again, and it really stuck with me this time.
Hell yeah.
Finished season 2. It's just really fucking funny.
Do you get around to that Dungeons and Dragons episode yet?
Damn, I need to.
I'm sorry. It's okay. It'll be a nice treat once you do. You'll be like, what? I should have listened to Mike.
I do that at least once a week.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
I should have listened to Mike. Yeah. Do that exact voice.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's your freak out voice. Yeah. Oh man.
Oh jeez.
Oh jeez. Right? Yeah.
But otherwise, nothing too crazy. Just a normal week. Very excited to go home tomorrow. But I mean, hey, that's we're getting towards the end of the semester, so I'm just happy about that.
Yeah, we got 2 weeks after, which is weird because I guess this is, oh fuck, I was gonna say all 3 years, but I guess this is all 4 years now at this point for me. Mm-hmm. I've been at our school. It's always been dead week right after fall break, so like it would be 1 week of they can't assign anything, and then finals. But this week we started like later than usual, so now it's like we have a week of fucking class afterwards. So like that transition is gonna be kind of weird.
Yeah,
but
no, it's gonna be strange. But,
yeah,
you know, we'll get through it. It'll be all right.
We will get through it.
But yeah, we got a little bit of music news, as you saw before. As we started the episode, Entranced.
Yes.
JR is in their new era, which had a logo of what looked like MTM, but I guess it's TMM. But before we knew that, we thought it was toes
yes,
or musty toes but yeah, that album art, awful.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that album art is fucking, it's so bad. It's some of the worst.
What did I say when I sent that to you?
I don't know. My friend who watches the podcast every now and then, he sent me a thing yesterday. He was like, all right, that album art, is it better or worse than MGK's Mainstream Sellout? And I was like, low-key,
somehow
Mainstream Sellout is a little bit better than this album art.
Somehow. I don't know how. Yeah, I sent that to you. I said, this is some of the worst art I've ever seen. And you go, what the fuck is that?
Yeah. At first I thought it wasn't real. I really didn't. Their faces are so unnatural. I hate it.
It's just, ugh.
Yeah, it's like the gross Adult Swim like animation shit that's happening nowadays. Like it's like that, but AJR-ified.
Yeah.
It's like,
go back to the fucking whoever made the click art. Go back to that guy.
Yeah, I kind of like the Neo Theater one too.
Neo Theater's
like,
good too.
Too bad. Actually, OK Orchestra, I'm okay with that one as well. I think
the album art's been fine. It's been the best part of their music.
Low key. Yeah.
And now they have nothing going for them. So
yeah.
That happened. We had Grammy nominations. Really hoping for Jack Harlow to win Rap Album of the Year.
Yeah, I'm hoping even more for ABCDEFU to win Record of the Year, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can remember.
God, please, Lord.
Please. If God is real.
But yeah, like the Album of the Year nominations were Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Adele's album, Bad Bunny's album,
Harry's House,
Lizzo, and then like an ABBA album.
Oh yeah, that's right, the ABBA album.
Like one
I feel
more.
Like there was something else. Yeah. There's a lot of them this year.
Yeah. So like mostly not great. No Ants From Up There nomination anywhere, but Big Thief got a nomination.
Big Thief got a few of them actually.
Spoon got their first.
No, their first ever.
Yeah, which Mike the Snare was happy about.
Yeah, I was a little sad that I didn't really expect Ants From Up There to get much just because they're still pretty they as much as I love them, as much as a lot of the big community loves them, they are still kind of a niche thing. Yeah. So like I didn't really expect that, but something like JID though, Jid, he didn't get anything.
Yeah, Denzel Curry, like,
and it's possible they may not have like submitted just because fuck the Grammys in general.
Well, no, Denzel was like, well, I don't know about Jid, but Denzel, he was ranting about it on
was
Twitter.
he? Okay, so it's definitely not with him. Yeah.
Like me, Jid, and like another person was like, we got fucking. We got thrown to the side for no fucking reason. Like our albums are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, some people were trying to say Jid came out too late, but it came out the exact same day as God Did by DJ Khaled.
Oh gosh.
And that album and the songs from it there's probably at least like 6 or 7 Grammys, if not more, for it. So.
Yeah, honestly, never mind him got nominated either. God, really, really praying for Drake right now.
I hope Drake from Safe Farm's doing all right now. Yeah.
Jersey, we're here for you.
Yes,
so,
your biggest fans at the Broken Boy podcast.
But yeah, those happened. Not too many surprises.
Yeah,
Silk Sonic pulled out. of getting nominated.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I was wondering about that because I was like, wait, I remember last year us talking like they'll be nominated for shit next year.
Yeah, we thought, but they were like, no, we don't want them.
That's fair.
So
they probably could have gotten some.
They would have swept.
They would have, yeah. Yeah.
But good for them. Fuck those award shows.
Yeah.
Other than ours.
Yes, the Brokeys is where it's at. That's where you will get the most unbiased nominations and winners. The most accurate representation for everyone. Every album ever released in 2020 is in contention.
Yeah.
But we only pick the best.
Yeah, we're actually just doing 2020 this year, not
yes.
2022.
2022 is really like the sequel to 2020 if you think about it. 2022. Like I think that's what I was going for.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened. Nicky Jakey released an album.
Yes.
We can talk about that.
Naked Jacob.
I was a little disappointed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I listened to it once, and I really liked Pine Barrens when it came out, and I was expecting the album to drop in February. Didn't happen, which is fine. He's doing it on his own, which cool. And then the album came out. Didn't come out at 11 last night on Spotify.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna come out at midnight maybe. But I'm not sure. I think there was some. I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, he put out a tweet. He was like, I can't guarantee it's gonna be on Spotify or Apple Music, but I can guarantee that it's gonna be on YouTube and SoundCloud. But I woke up and it was on there this morning. I was like, oh, gotta watch.
Yeah, it came out around like 1 or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I gotta listen to that. And, on the way to class, I was like, oh, because it's rap and trap kind of, and just not what I was expecting after Pine Barrens came out. And for the most part, I was just kind of like, a lot of lyrics were kind of cringe.
Yeah,
there were some weird samples. Like I think it was survival horror.
Yeah, I didn't get no sleep. Yeah, that one.
And I was like,
and then I think
it was integrated cool, like kinda the way he kind of started singing it too. But I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it just wasn't for me. I only gave it one listen, so it might grow on me. But I don't know. Just wasn't what I was expecting. But he put his heart into it. He said multiple times throughout the album, like, we're working on this shit for years. So, it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, I actually have a lot of similar thoughts to you. I think I feel maybe slightly more positive on it than you do. I liked. I have similar gripes with the lyrics being, they're pretty on the nose, pretty literal, and like while a lot of them, I think, he definitely was thinking that kind of stuff, was in those dark places. Wish maybe it was like touched up a little bit to not just sound like everyday emo rap stuff. And like the trap stuff I could kind of take or leave as well. I liked a lot of the beats on here, but I also agree that the samples were a little distracting at points, and like we're like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like they were integrated okay into like the themes of the songs, but I think it's like Reeboks or the Nikes had like the "This is the rhythm of the night," like that thing in there. I was like, I don't know about that. I kind of liked a lot of the hooks though on here. I think he gives a great performance throughout as well, even if I'm not huge on a lot of the lyrics. He really puts his heart into like all these songs, and I don't know. I was vibing a lot with like Totally Freaked Me Out and Every Day a lot. I think the choruses on those tracks are pretty great. And overall, I am positive on it. I like it. I think it's good, but like I'm not like in love with it, and I may listen to it like one more time, and I likely will not listen to it again for a long time, if ever. To be completely honest with you, I think it's fine. There's a lot of people on Album of the Year who are really rating this pretty high. Like I think it's at like an 80 score right now. Last time I checked,
it was an 80. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, really interesting. But I agree that I think it's just it's good. It's not like amazing. But he does really well with it, and there is a lot of potential for the future for stuff he does. I think I definitely like this more than I thought I was going to, because his other like singles and stuff I'm usually like, it's good. But this I'm like, yeah, I see something here. There's a project here. This could go somewhere further, but like right now it's just a little, it's just all right. It could be stronger.
Like, Pine Barrens was the only song he released, and it was like...
there was like a snippet of Drive Up a Bridge, too.
Yeah, I think Pine Barrens was released, like, fucking New Year's Day or, like, Christmas last year.
It was... was it last year?
It was either very early this year or very late last year. Mm-hmm. But, you know... And I like that. I like that song a lot. Mm-hmm. 10 months ago.
So it was like February.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was originally supposed to come out on Valentine's Day. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, what the fuck?
Oh, 10 months ago.
Oh, okay. It was December 21st of 2020. That's fucking weird. Yeah. My brain just stopped.
Released a long time ago.
Yeah.
And, you know, I listened to it a lot at the beginning of the year. Didn't listen to it a ton, throughout the middle of the year. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I like that one a lot. It's still my favorite on the album, but it's also the most different on the album.
Yeah.
It's a weird break from the trap, emo rap kind of stuff, and it's more singy, and I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I need to give it another listen or two before I can like really process my thoughts. I was just kind of, you know, I was really excited for it, and it just didn't live up to my expectations, but that's okay.
That could be like the difference too. Like, while I was interested in the project, I wasn't like excited for it. I was just like, we'll see how it goes, and I was like, oh. Yeah. Yeah. That could be a difference as well. But yeah, no, I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Did you listen to the AJR song?
No.
By any chance? I thought it was okay. Again, I thought their last one, I Won't, was also all right, and this one I think was okay too. I mean, like it has its usual, you know, AJR-ish fucking, like, it has a violin breakdown like over a weird beat, but like. It's done okay, and like Jack's vocals are pretty good towards the end of it. It has kind of a dynamic build. I was like, oh, dynamics. And the lyrics and the verses are pretty shit, but like in the chorus, he's like actually acknowledging like, damn, I kind of have this arrested, like, he acknowledges how they're in like not word by word, but he acknowledges that they have this arrested development shit, and like, maybe this is a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's like, well, at least they're acknowledging it. So we can only hope that we don't get like a fucking, I don't know, turning out or a birthday party or some type of don't throw out my Legos, that kind of shit. I can only hope they're past that point with being self-aware with it, but I don't.
I'm 30 years old talking about...
It's quite literally what it is. It's like, I'm 35 but acting like 17 or some shit while you're out there having a life and shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, well, at least there's some self-awareness there. And like, I don't know, overall I think it's like fine. It's better. I think I ended my album of the year review with it's way better than some shit like 100 Bad Days or like Bummerland.
Yeah,
which
it's kind of hard to get that bad.
Yeah. You would think. I thought 100 Bad Days was bad, but Bummerland is... I literally can't listen to that song. Like, it opens up, Bummerland! I'm like, oh, God. That's their song. I think that's the song of theirs that makes me want to die the most. Like, there's very little redeeming qualities about that track to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, I thought it was fine. So, like, 2 songs of theirs being fine for the lead singles... You know,
we'll see.
We'll see. TMM.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
but yeah, isn't it crazy that they were our first artist analysis of the year?
They were the first one of this year.
Yeah.
Damn, what a way to start off.
But
just like movies, the best ones are in January.
And you know, this album, this artist analysis that we're getting into, might be the last of the year. So,
that's true. I have not thought ahead to we'll figure that out when we get there.
Maybe
this may be the last.
Maybe
one.
The last one of the year, because we have all of our year-end episodes.
Yeah.
Because that's coming up rapidly. Holy shit!
Rapido.
We got the fucking Brokies.
Woo.
The second annual Brokies coming out. Very excited for that.
Yes.
We got big hosts this year. musical breakdowns. It's gonna be insane.
Musical break dancing too.
Yeah, we're gonna, and we got big ads coming in.
Yes.
So
You know us, big ads. Yeah. That's what they call us.
Sponsored by Twitter.
Yeah. You can only watch the episode if you have Twitter Blue.
We can't even watch the episode.
Yeah.
So very exclusive. Anyway, do you want to hop into our artist
We
analysis?
probably should.
We're probably
How far
45
in?
minutes in.
30 minutes.
30 minutes.
All right.
All
20
right.
20 Pikets.
21 pilots, baby.
Yeah.
Artist analysis.
Once again, we've never talked about this band ever before. Never done a complete episode on them before either. This is a first in a lot of regards.
Yeah.
Never listened to them prior to this episode. I was like stressed out. That has a lot of streams.
Wow.
Where'd those come from?
Heathens?
Yeah.
I loved Suicide Squad.
I know. I just left before the credits.
I've never listened to the radio a day in my life since 2013.
Yeah, songs on the radio are okay, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I really like your face, though. That's my taste in music.
Damn. That should be a lyric.
You're right.
I'm gonna write that one down.
I better get royalties.
Yeah. We'll see.
Do you want to start? Would you like me to start? What do you want to do?
I want rock, paper, scissors for it.
Sure.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Alright, you are starting.
Alright, but who... okay.
Alright, and breaking character a little bit here. I did write a lot for these, so be ready for like a novel for each time we go.
Yeah, I wrote like a page and a half for each of these, so page and a half, page and a quarter.
Yeah.
So we'll see how long it gets.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Strap in. We got a lot. It's not like we wrote nothing.
Yeah.
We got a lot to say.
Also, break a character. This is our favorite band.
Yes.
So we have a lot to say.
Yes.
So buckle in or get the fuck out.
One or the other. Yeah.
You can have a sound in the background, I guess. But I want your full undivided attention, MILFs.
Yes.
Got
As
it.
Always. Right. Not allowed to zone out in this podcast.
Never.
Yeah.
No one's ever done that.
No.
Not even me.
Mm-hmm. I've definitely never done that before.
All right. Here we go. Self-titled 2009 21 Pilots is the title.
Yes.
All right. I said off the bat. And to nobody's surprise, we both have extremely biased opinions of this band. However, this album is where our opinions have differed the most over the years. This has always been my least favorite of the widely available albums, but I still have a lot of love for it. The songs are super fleshed out and all have genuinely good storytelling. I love the amount of piano, the bass goes harder than I remembered it going, and I enjoy most of the production. The melodrama is at an all-time high here, and that works well for a lot of the songs, but for others it kind of drags them down. Tyler's voice is fine on this album, but you know it's definitely not great, and we've seen how it's gotten better over the years, but we'll get to that. Yeah, it's been a while since I'd listened to this album all the way through. Been like a year or so. So, you know.
It is a longer one.
It is.
I think it's their longest. Pretty sure.
It's either this one or Trench.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's this one, because this one goes over an hour. I don't think Trench does.
It's like just under an hour.
Yeah.
But yeah, it had been a while since I'd listened to it all the way through, and I will say, a lot of songs are better than I remember. I think this was a good jumping off point for the band, and it just you know isn't my favorite, but it's okay. I think it's a good album. I guess I didn't have I took up a lot of that first part to say how biased we are, but that's okay.
It's an important footnote.
Yes. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. I just liked it more than I thought I did. But yeah, my favorites are Fall Away, Trapdoor, Taxicab, Isle of Flightless Birds, Friend Please, and Addict with a Pen. My least favorites were Before You Start Your Day, The Pantaloon, and Johnny Boy, and I give it a light 7.
Cool. Yeah, 21 Pilots. I really start off with like storytelling here. I said sometimes when we do these artist analyses, the first album of a group will have lesser production quality and or like these really raw vocals. And I think especially in the cases of Green Day and MCR, this was really apparent to me. And while I'm usually not a fan of that kind of style, I'm always sure to make it clear during the artist analysis that it is not for me. Like, I can see why people would like it, but I personally don't have much attachment to it, and I'm not huge into it. And I think the reason I have that mindset comes from this album, from 21 Pilots, because it holds a lot of the same issues as the other first records that I just mentioned. But I also love this album for its rawness. I really love how raw it is. And simultaneously, I would absolutely understand why somebody wouldn't like this album. But for me, I love this shit. And like Colin was saying, this is, I guess, where our tastes slightly break when it comes to 21 Pilots. I said at one point, I would have called this my favorite 21 Pilots record, and I did for a long time. And while I cherish it a little less nowadays, I still think this record is very special in their catalog. Like I mentioned, it's very raw vocally, which really brings across the emotion in Tyler's voice on a lot of these tracks. I just lost myself. I love a lot of the lyrical content on tracks like Attic with the Pen or March to the Sea. And while the production isn't amazing by any stretch of the word, I find it to be beautifully consistent within itself in a way that makes the whole project sound cohesive. And like Colin was saying, you know, there's really good piano all throughout and some nice bass too. And it helps that they were a three-piece band at this point. It was Tyler, Nick, and Chris, I believe is who they were. I think those are who they were. Sure. You know, it was a pianist, pianist and vocalist, and then bassist, drummer. So like that's kind of like the main sound of these tracks, and it's really cohesive within itself, which I like a lot. Things definitely sound dated at points, but more in a way that I find to be charming than distracting. However, things are held back from being great every now and then. Aircatcher is one of my favorite tracks here, but the auto-tune section is super awkward and really out of place. I've grown so accustomed to it that, like, I don't mind it much anymore, but the song, there is a version of the song that doesn't have it, and it's so much better. Yeah. Like, yeah. March to the Sea is another one that I said is beautiful lyrically and has, like, great production, honestly, but it is a little bit longer than it has to be, and it drags its feet some. Implicit Demand for Proof is this really showy opener with like a gorgeous like chorus and climax to it. But Tyler's vocal style in the verses is a little cringy. I know. Yeah.
There's the same thing on March to the Sea though. Like there's miles of land in front of us.
I think when it comes to that, like I like the lyrics more on March to the Sea. So like I don't know, him just like, you know, talking about God and shit, just being like, I know you're. I don't know, for something about it is a little too melodramatic for me. There's these little things all throughout the whole album that prevent me from fully loving a lot of these songs, and it's probably the reason why it's shrunk on me slightly over the years. But on the flip side, I think there's legitimate worth to every single track here, and they all hold special places in my heart, even if I am aware that they're not the greatest thing in the world. Mm-hmm. My favorites are Trapdoor, low-key, best, like, most underrated 21 Pilots song, I think.
Yeah, that one, when I got to that one, I was like, wow, I forgot how good this fucking is. Like,
and, well, also it it's pretty much just piano, drum, and bass on it, so, like, it really capitalizes on their members as well at the time.
Screaming's great on it, too.
Oh, so good. No. Depressing as hell, but very good.
This album is depressing.
Yes, so. Yes. Almost Believer as well, another one that I fight for a lot. This is a beautiful track. Taxi Cab, Fall Away, Isle of Flightless Birds, Attic with a Pen, Friend Please, and Aircatcher. And my least favorites are A Car, Torch of Death, which is just kind of forgettable. The Pantaloon, weird production, but also kind of charming. I don't know. And then Johnny Boy has really shrunk on me a lot over the years, and I basically only like the bridge of that song. But overall, I give it like a light 8. I still really enjoy this album a lot, and I throw it on every now and then, and it makes me happy. Yeah. Okay. I think that's one of the lengthier ones I wrote, so yes. Okay. But moving on, we go to Regional at Best. they lose 2 of their members, and they gain Josh Dunn on drums, who will be the mainstay for the rest of their career. Well, I shouldn't say that because we don't know the future, but their career thus far. Yeah. R.A.B. I start with. The Unspoken album, the one that doesn't exist on any streaming service, the one that is pretty much never performed and is a rarity to hear either Tyler or Josh merely reference. Yet it's still crucial to the progression of the band. For one, it's the first record with Josh, like I was talking about. And also it marks the first appearance of several classic 21 Pilots tracks that will be remade for Vessel, and will shoot them into the public eye. However, there is a lot that has not aged well at all on here. While I found the production on Self-Titled to be it's somewhat held up in its own way, like its own charming thing, Regional at Best has not done that. The synths sound really bad. The drums and bass are super thin throughout, and Tyler's vocals are admittedly pretty bad through most of this. And once again, not in a way where it feels stylistic like it did on the Self-Titled. There are a few points on here that are borderline unlistenable, like the god-awful auto-tune plaguing Trees, or the whitest rapping possible on Be Concerned. And this version of Car Radio... Oh, sorry. The white rapping also applies to this version of Car Radio. I ponder of something great. My lungs will fill and then deflate. Yeah. Anathema used to be my favorite song ever, period, full stop. But the production in the second half of this track really pulls me out of it nowadays, which is a little sad for me. Yeah. I really wish in some world that they would remaster this song with trench production. It'd be so good. All this being said, I still see this project with a pair of rose-colored glasses. I will talk shit on this album and then proceed to sing along to every single fucking word. Because this album is still catchy and has great lyrics for a lot of it, honestly. I can give you at least one legitimately positive thing about each of these songs, but I will admit that I'm extremely biased, and those positives can be stretched thin at some points. I think this is an album that can only be enjoyed through nostalgia, but speaking as someone who has that nostalgia, I think it's not the worst thing in the world. My favorites on here are Ruby, Kitchen Sink, Forest, Slowtown, and Lovely. And then I put in little brackets Holding On to You and Guns for Hands because I think their versions on this album are kind of cute. And my least favorites are Trees, Be Concerned, Car Radio, Clear, and Glowing Eyes. And overall, I'd give it a decent 5.
All right.
Yeah.
See, I don't really have those rose-colored glasses, but here we go.
Did you not listen to Regional Best in high school? Or
not really, no.
Really? Oh,
I think I listened to it once or twice, but I was I have to go to YouTube to listen to this. I can't listen to it with my phone off. So.
I legally downloaded them to my phone.
Okay.
And legally
you asked Tyler's
got
permission.
Yes, Tyler gave me a CD that I legally own in my car.
That's nice. That's nice of him.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
I have a legal and completely real version of the vinyl of this album.
Yes.
So.
Anyway, sorry. No rose-colored glasses for you.
No, not really. I start out by saying, the redheaded stepdaughter of the top discography.
Yes.
While Guns for Hands and Hurling On to You stayed mostly the same when translated to Vessel, as soon as you get to Ode to Sleep, Car Radio, you realize how crucial being signed to Fueled by Ramen was for the band.
Yeah.
I truly have no idea what Tyler was thinking with the production throughout most of this record, but yeesh. Josh is around now, and his drumming is still there, but most of the time it's pushed so far back that it's almost inaudible. On top of that, iconic drum lines that everyone loves from Vessel are so anticlimactic and dulled down that they barely exist.
That one fucking fill and holding on to you, it's so empty without it there.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that's in hindsight, I think it's kind of an issue, but listening to that, I agree, it's just so empty.
It's so sad.
It is.
Yeah. I say, while there's a lot to dislike about this album, there's still stuff to enjoy. The songs are still creative, and I enjoy the new synths when they're done okay, but most of the time they're bad.
Yeah.
Somehow this record feels more indie than the last, and I don't really understand how that happened, but it does add character. This album is where the band that we know and love truly began, and for that I am appreciative, but wow, this album is not good. Sorry, boys. But my favorites were Kitchen Sink, Lovely, Slowtown, Anathema, and Ruby. And my least favorites were Trees, Car Radio, Ode to Sleep, and Be Concerned. It's sad that 3 Vessel songs, iconic Vessel songs, are my least favorites, but Trees is so bad.
Trees is really bad.
It's so bad.
If you are unfamiliar with this band and you're putting up with us right now, look up Trees Regional at Best version and just prepare yourself.
Ooh, but I give it a light 4.
Okay. That's completely fair. Completely fair. And that was one thing I forgot to mention in mine, too. I truly do wonder what happened production-wise between last album and this one. Because the last album is honestly produced, like, decently. Like, it's not, like, amazing or anything. But, like, you can hear everything you're supposed to. And this album just sounds so bad. Like, I don't know if, like, the last one they had a producer for something, and then this one Tyler did all himself or something.
Or maybe fucking one of the old members had all the equipment to edit shit. So,
maybe.
So Tyler had to buy this.
Honestly, that might be likely.
Tyler was like, I have a fucking 2002 PC.
Josh, record your drums into my iPhone, my iPod.
My iPod Touch.
It is interesting.
It's very strange. But, you know, now they're signed by Fueled by Ramen, with Vessel in 2013. So let's hop into it. The Bois sold out. Thank God. But seriously, everything they were trying to do on Regional at Best is done here, and a lot better. Tyler's vocals are better, Josh's drums are more present, and they resuscitated Ode to Sleep and Trees after they were massacred before. The production is on point, and it really feels like they found their footing after the lineup change. Blurry Face is what introduced me to the band, but Vessel is what really sold me on these boys. This album is so fun throughout, with some of their most iconic live moments, and it ends and ending with a beautiful piano ballad that has been close to my heart from the first time I heard it. That being said, this album isn't completely flawless. Semi-Automatic and Fake You Out have been my least favorite, and for a while. And I can still find enjoyment in them, but they are probably some of my least favorite 21 Pilots songs. Vessel's important to me and to the history of 21 Pilots. It was once my favorite, and I love it. But my favorites are Truce, Holding On to You, Migraine, Ode to Sleep, Screen, and Trees. And my least favorites are Semi-Automatic and Fake You Out. I give it a decent 8.
All right. Cool. Yeah, Vessel 2013. To me, this is classic 21 Pilots. This eclectic synth poppy emotional alt rock record defines everything I love about this band, with its passionate lyricism and addicting hooks and tracks and all that. A lot of these songs were the ones that initially got me into the band. I distinctly remember that prior to Blurry Face, I was recommended this group by a few of my friends, and that's when I first listened to Car Radio, Holding On to You, House of Gold, Guns for Hands, and Truce. It wasn't an immediate love. It wasn't an immediate love thing, but I did really enjoy these songs when I was introduced to them in like 2013, 2014-ish, something like that. But damn, man, this stuff is classic. Like I already said, but I have dementia. The first 5 tracks on this album are so fucking good. Ode to Sleep is one of my favorite album openers of theirs. I think the tempo changes and like each of the sections are so good. Holding On to You is just iconic and like it's so fun to sing along with. Migraine has some of the best lyrics and metaphors in their discography. And Car Radio and House of Gold are getting hated on a lot nowadays, and to be honest, I don't fully understand why. It could be it's completely biased why, but I don't know. I think Car Radio is one of Tyler's most passionate lyrical pieces with such a distinct blending of genres, you know, like with its dance beat and then also, you know, piano ballad like mix. Like I really like Car Radio a lot, and House of Gold is such a cute little ballad to his mom that is fun, catchy, and easy on the ears. And I don't know. I think sometimes people hear ukulele and they're just like, bad.
Reminds them of a hard time.
Yeah.
The Riptide era of music.
I guess that's true. It's true to extents. Yeah. I can see why, I guess. But, like, I don't know. I think House of Gold is fun. I think it's cute. Mm-hmm. But from here, the track list does take a little bit of a dip, though. Like you were saying, Semi-Automatic and Fake You Out are ones that are, you know, not as great for me. I'm not personally huge on Screen. We kind of had this debate in our 21 Pilots tier list. I think it's okay. And The Run and Go I also think is okay. And I would also argue Guns for Hands is just a little bit lesser in quality for me.
Blasphemy.
It is a little bit, yeah. Tyler Joseph reference. Sorry.
I'm going to drown you.
Yeah. Save me. No one can hear me now.
No fun.
No, that's this podcast. Yeah, I don't know. Guns for Hands. I don't hate any of those tracks that I just mentioned, but like I just think they're not as good as the other ones. But I really still love these songs to death, like I was just saying. So take that criticism with a grain of salt. We finished strongly though with Trees, the Vessel version, and Truce. With Trees being infinitely better than the original Best version. Yeah. Like, I don't think you will ever hear a song improve so much.
Yeah. more I'd rather listen to AJR in their entirety than original at Best Trees.
Yes. And Truce is just this beautiful piano ballad like you were talking about, and it's a cherry on top. And it doesn't hurt that Truce also connects with some deeper emotion within me, and this track has a lot further meaning to myself other than just being a song. It's just like, it's literally attached to moments in my life. So, I like it a lot.
Yeah. Shit was on my graduation cap for high school.
So. That's right, yeah. But yeah, so there's that. But really, even though I think the middle of this album sounds a little dated at this point, I think Vessel is one of the strongest projects in their discography, and it will always hold a nostalgic place in my heart. My favorites are Truce, Ode to Sleep, Car Radio, Trees, Holding On to You, Migraine, and House of Gold. My least favorites are Fake You Out, The Run and Go, and Screen. And overall, I'd give it like a decent 8 as well. Did you say decent 8 or light 8?
Decent 8.
Decent 8 as well. Yeah, it's a great album. I think it's, if you're looking for some 2013 sound nostalgia, right there. Any additional thoughts, or you just?
No, I love that album. And if you're you know, any of you MILFs out there, if you have only heard like Stressed Out or Ride on the radio, or you know, Heathens, check out Vessel. You know, if you've even slightly enjoyed Stressed Out and Ride, check it out. You might enjoy it.
Yeah.
You might find some enjoyment in it.
Yeah.
In it.
Enjoyment in it. Yeah. All right, then we move into Blurry Face from 2015. Oh, damn, you're going to get to talk about Trench first.
Yes, I am. Glad I won that.
Yeah. Blurry Face 2015. This is the big one to people who aren't in the fan base of the band, I guess. Yeah. Blurry Face, the album that prides itself in being different from everything else in the industry while simultaneously being by far their most commercially successful record. Yeah. Yep. Although nerdy fun fact, this is the only 21 Pilots album with any odd time signatures, with some bars of 6/4 in the breakdown of Heavy Dirty Soul, and the verses of Goner alternating between 3/4 and 9/8. That's kind of cool to me.
Nerd! Sorry.
You said it a lot like Homer right there. You did that like really well. Yeah, I'm a fucking nerd. I thought that's kind of cool. But this album is still mainstream as hell, despite how much Tyler will try to tell you it isn't. These songs will never be on the radio. It's possibly the funniest lyric in hindsight. Yeah, for some people that really turns them off from this project, the whole, you know, like talking about how it's not mainstream and then, you know, it's super mainstream. Yeah. But once again, I'm biased as hell. And because even though I knew some of their stuff prior to this album, the release of Blurryface is what made me into a fan of them and like actually started listening to them. I vividly remember having a music app on my Xbox One, and I would play some music in the background of GTA 5. I didn't do this for long, probably like a couple weeks, but in that time period, I listened to this album on loop probably 10 or so times, and I fell in love with it. And I sometimes when I listen to Blurryface, I still get some nostalgia, you know, dicking around in GTA 5. It's a very 2015 memory within me. And while I definitely see a lot of flaws in this album, especially on the lyrical and production side of things, I still think this is some of the catchiest and most fun work in their discography. I listened to it a few weeks ago and talked about it on the pod, and I listened to it just for fun, and it really does kind of fill a nice hole in their discography of something you could just turn your mind off to. But with the consequence of that being that there's not really a single one of these tracks that I fully enjoy and have like no flaws with. But I have fun with it, and a lot of others do too, so I think it's worthwhile in the end. My favorites on here are Goner and Heavy Dirty Soul, along with Ride, Hometown, Message Man, Stressed Out, and Tearing My Heart. My least favorites are Polarized, Fairly Local, and Not Today, and overall I give it a light 7. And one more thing. I forgot about this, and I read it, I think, yesterday, but I forgot to add it into my notes. I forgot that Fairly Local was the lead single to this album.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think about that, I'm like...
What a strange one to start off with.
Yeah, and also very bold of you to make your lead single saying, yo, this song will never be on the radio.
Yeah.
It's... whatever. They're Lucky, Stressed Out, and Ride blew the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Yeah, it's funny in hindsight.
All right, here we go. Blurryface. The Bois' big break. As I mentioned before, this album is where my love for the band began, as it was for many people. Blurryface expands on the sound that the last two albums started, and it had become a lot more polished. Well, for the most part. On top of that, there's new elements added, like a trumpet on Not Today, which I think is pretty cool. This is a pretty long album, so there are bound to be songs that may be songs that maybe aren't as good or get lost in the fold. And that does happen with a few tracks. They also have a unique thing that happens where some songs are just so much better live than they are on the album.
I think that's kind of the theme of this band for a lot of people.
While I said what I said about Vessel being important for the band is the same tenfold for Blurryface with the explosion of Stressed Out, and what am I rating here? And to a smaller level Ride, but not much smaller. While I understand why some don't enjoy Stressed Out because songs being overplayed is annoying as fuck, that song is a fucking bop.
I agree.
And it's also the first song that I'd heard by them. Blurryface is an insane focal point of nostalgia for me. It was the most different music I had heard at the time, and it instantly encapsulated me. It's important to me and my developed love of music, and I love it. It's not perfect, but I love it. My favorites were Lane Boy, Message Man, Goner, Stressed Out, Heavy Dirty Soul, and Hometown. And my least favorites were Polarized, Doubt, and We Don't Believe It's on TV. Yeah. I give it a light 8.
Nice. And one thing I wanted to add again, it was also a big part of my musical start, actually getting into music as well. Listening to albums like albums. Because while I was listening to it on the Xbox Music app, there wasn't like a shuffle button or something, so I listened through and I was like, album. Also, something I forgot to mention in there that I didn't think of until right now when you were talking. This was the first CD I ever bought.
Oh, me too.
Was Blurryface. So my wallet, I'm sure, really thanks me for that purchase because I now have like 40 other CDs. as well as a vinyl collection.
Yeah.
So, thanks, Blurry Face.
Thank you, Tyler Joseph and Josh Dunn.
Yes.
Yeah. It was also my first CD, and I also share a birthday with it.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I share a birthday with Blurryface and Igor.
I always remember Igor. Yeah. I always forget Blurryface though.
It's it doesn't say May 17th on the Spotify app because it was leaked early, I think. But
that's right. Yeah, there was a leak of this one. I wasn't in the fan base at the time, so I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I had heard Stressed Out on the bus at the end of 8th grade.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But I didn't get into them until fall of 2015, freshman year, and they've stuck with me throughout. But here we go, Trench, baby,
Trench time, baby.
Everything, what I've been waiting for.
Yeah, baby.
Trench, Twinch,
Twinch.
Trench, 2018. Oh baby, I've been waiting for this one. Their Mona Lisa, their magnum opus. This album is truly something else. Bringing Paul Meany to help produce was the best idea they've ever had.
Yes.
And I'll stand by that. Tyler's singing is on point. Josh's drums are poignant and crisp. The synths are synthy. And and the bass is fucking grooving, baby.
The bass is bassy.
It's all about that bass.
Yes.
No trouble. I could gush about this album forever and never find one thing I dislike about it. Back to front, this is the definitive 21 Pilots album, and I think people would be hard pressed to disagree with me there. The songwriting is absolutely on point, especially once you take the story that started in Blurryface, kinda, but was more developed for this album.
Became lore.
Yeah, it become lore, and the lore that started. I just said this. The lore that started in Blurryface really developed on Trench, and is some of my favorite shit to read and theorize about. There are so many small little details, and it's just so fun and interesting. This was my first 21 Pilots album that I was able to get hyped for, and I'll never ever forget when Jumpsuit, Nico and the Niners were released on July 11th. 2018. Trench makes me feel every emotion, whether it's hype as fuck for Levitate or Pachita, or sad as fuck for Neon Gravestones and Legend. It's one of my favorite albums of all time, and it always will be. It's truly something else. My favorites were Jumpsuit, Chlorine, Cut My Lip, Morph, Bandito, Pachita, Levitate, Nico and the Niners, and My Blood. And my least favorites were none. I give it a 10.
Damn.
I love Trench so much.
If you couldn't tell, on this podcast, we enjoy Trench.
Yeah. Trench enjoyers.
Spoiler alert from my thoughts, I guess. Yeah, Trench 2018. And here we are, the album that everyone's been waiting for. This is currently their magnum opus. And God fucking damn, is it still so good. This is probably my most listened to... Sorry. That got spoiled earlier that one. Sorry. This is probably my most listened to album of all time. And there is a solid argument that I could make for it being my favorite album, periods. I put the little nail emoji because I was feeling a little goofy. Silly goofy. I never get sick of this thing, no matter how many times I hear it. They collaborate with Mr. Paul Meany of Mute Math for the production of this record, and holy shit, did that make a world of a difference in making this album sound amazing. Like Colin said, that's probably one of the best decisions they've ever made in the band. Everything from varied synths that sound gorgeous...
Gorgeously varied.
Everything from synths that sound gorgeously varied, is what I meant to say, to wonderful punchy drum patterns from Josh Dunn, to fully realized versions of their genre blending style. Every track here sounds phenomenal, and the lyricism is also top notch. Tyler does a great job at blending the more lore heavy tracks like Nico and the Niners with the tracks that don't have as much. No. Sorry, I wrote this completely wrong. What am I doing? He does a great job at blending the lore-heavy tracks like Nico and the Niners with the tracks that have more real-life connections, such as Neon Gravestones. He walks the line very well between them, but making the tracks enjoyable in both contexts. If you want lore or if you want like real world things, it could be enjoyed either way. And every song here is stupidly catchy and performed professionally by Tyler, with his vocals feeling a lot more refined for this polished style of theirs. I thoroughly love every single one of these songs. Even though I have a couple tracks in my least favorites, these tracks would easily be amongst the best in any of their other albums. That's just the level of quality on this album. The sheer consistency amongst the quality all throughout this thing is absolutely wonderful. I will never stop advocating for how great this album is, and I really think it should have more popularity than it does amongst the fan base, because it's kind of a popular thing to say, Trench is not that great. I prefer their other stuff. It's like, this is critical. This is peak. Yeah, my best list is not in order. It's just, well, it's in order of the album. It's not like ordered because I didn't feel like giving that much thought. Yep. So my favorites are Jumpsuit, Levitate, Morph, My Blood, Chlorine, Neon Gravestones, Nico and the Niners, Cut My Lip, Bandito, Pet Cheetah, Legend, Leave the City. And my least favorites are Smithereens. I think it's a little out of place. Could be a little bit. It's not as good as the other tracks. And The Hype, which I think goes on just slightly longer than I wanted to. Very little nitpicks. I love both of those songs. And that's kind of my thing with this album. I have very minuscule nitpicks, but they're kind of all throughout. So I don't quite think I can confidently give it a strong 10, even though, like I said, this is arguably my favorite album, period. So yeah, I don't remember if I said it, but this is a strong 9 for me. Like, about as strong as a 9 can get. It's
a 99 plus. Pretty much,
yes. It is a very good album. Album of the year, I have it as a 98, if that helps more with the strongness. Yeah, fantastic record. I think it's possible for them to beat it, but we will get there. Yeah, cool. Then we go into Skilled and Icy from last year, 2021. We have a whole episode on this album, but those thoughts were biased to the time and fresh, and now we've had time to sit and refine like a nice little wine. I rhyme all the time. Yeah, Skilled and Icy, 2021. Finally, we get to their most recent record. This album gets a lot of undeserved hate, from Album of the Year giving it a 5 out of 10 to Fantano's infamous Light 2 on this album, which I still do not quite understand that one. I think a lot of it stems from this coming directly after Trench. While that album earned the band a lot of respect from people outside of the fan base, 21 Pilots' follow-up record pulls a lot more influence from things like Vessel and Blurryface, which the outsiders of the band prior to Trench were not really a fan of. So, you know, when they pull from that again, it feels like, you know, I can see why people would have the opinions they do if they love Trench but not their other work. I can see where it comes from. But, and I can't lie, I am also slightly disappointed with what we got, because pretty much everything is a downgrade from what we got on Trench. The vocals are a little more rough. The lyrics can be pretty questionable and generally uninteresting at points. You know, and when I say like questionable, I'm mostly referring to things like Never Take It, which... there was a sec there where that was being used as an anti-vax anthem, God. Which I think it was Brad, or maybe it was Fantano.
It was Brad.
Brad made a really good point with that, saying like, if they can turn that into an anti-vax anthem, that just proves to you how poorly written it is. And I'm like, yeah, you've got a point there. But yeah, Paul Meany is also off the production for the most part, making this album sound a little uninspired. Like, it still sounds good. Actually, it probably is their second best produced album, I would say. But it does feel noticeably less full than Trench did. And on top of this, the songs are honestly just not as good. There's a lot of weird genres they choose for this one, from like 90s pop music on Formidable to Vietnam-era rock on Never Take It. And then pulling influence from less than desirable modern day acts such as like a Maroon 5 sound on Saturday and AJR-like production on Bounce Man. And granted, I would take Saturday or Bounce Man over any Maroon 5 or AJR track any day. But it's still weird influences for me that like feel a little uncanny. even to this day. But all this on top of the addition of the guitar to make their all of this like weird stuff. In addition, they also add guitar to their sound for this album because Tyler learned to play the guitar. So it's another just weird thing that makes it a little disorienting from like all the progress they made up until Trench. It just feels a little off for whatever reason. I'm saying a lot of bad here, but I still find a lot of enjoyment in this album. There are similarly leveled bops on this record like there was on Blurry Face. The tracks are easy to sing along to. The production is better than pretty much all of their records except for Trench and maybe Vessel. While it is completely inaccessible to an outside enjoyer, the lore on this record is also pretty cool and creative. The whole thing of like, you know, they're making this album, they're being forced to make this album by Demo or whatever. It's cool when you look into it, but like you will not pick up on it if by yourself. Like there's a lot of context needed to get to that point. But I do appreciate it on that level. I do think it was a little too buried for its own good, the lore. And I think there's a lot of missteps taken with this album, but at the end of the day, there's nothing quite like jamming to these tracks on a nice summer day. I think there's a couple noticeably weak tracks, but the majority of this record is just fine and good to vibe with, which I'm completely fine with. I mean, I love this band, so I'm okay with that. My favorites are Redecorate. That one's grown on me a lot over like the last year since it came out. That's a great closing track. Redecorate, Good Day, Mulberry Street, Shy Away, No Chances, and The Outside. And my least favorites are Formidable, which I always like to call Forgettable, Never Take It, and Bounce Man. But overall, I'd still give it like a decent 7. I still enjoy this album a lot. I just think there's a lot of weird weaknesses on here that aren't on their other projects.
Yes.
That I think are worth highlighting. But yeah.
All right. Scaled nicey. How do you follow up a magnum opus, music and story-wise? Trench was so much to live up to, and would be almost impossible to replicate. So they didn't, and that's okay. Yeah. While Scaled Nicey was a step down production-wise from Trench, it was made to feel different, made to feel manufactured and artificial. That's not an excuse for bad music, and personally, I don't think any of these songs are bad. They're just not as good as Trench. I love the way they continued to develop the story that became so prominent in the last project, and I love a lot of the different things done here. The introduction of guitars and a backing band for the live settings, at least, was a breath of fresh air.
Sorry, I want to bounce off that real quick. The backing band is fucking sick.
Oh, yeah. No, they're awesome.
That's one of the best things about this album.
Where did I go?
Sorry.
It's okay. It was a breath of fresh air that adds a lot. I still really like this record. No, it's not as good as Trench. I knew deep down that it wouldn't be, and that's okay. I look forward to what these boys do in the story going forward. And, you know, as it went with some of the songs on Blurry Face, a lot of these songs are much better in person.
Yes.
So, you know, can't all be winners, but that's okay. My favorites are Redecorate, Mulberry Street, Shy Away, Good Day, The Outside, and No Chances. And my least favorites are Formidable, Bounce Man, Saturday, and Never Take It. I also give it a decent 7.
Did Saturday shrink on you?
A little bit.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, it is one of my least favorites on the album, but it's towards the bottom of the list, so it's not...
Yeah. I was just curious about that, because I know... I've always been kind of... That one, actually, I think it's slightly grown on me, but I still think it's so-so. I just thought it was funny, because our lists were pretty much exactly the same, except for that. I didn't have Saturday in my least favorite.
Oh, yeah.
You were saying that, I was like, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, what was your rating? I apologize.
Decent 7.
Decent 7. Cool.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. But yeah, here's my overall thoughts.
Yeah.
This album, overall, this is my favorite band. I've been obsessed since I was introduced freshman year of high school, which is now over 7 years ago, which is terrifying.
It is.
21 Pilots has been with me through my absolute best moments and the worst moments, and they mean more to me than they could ever know. They are the masters of music videos and storytelling through music, and I feel like they should be acknowledged more for those facts. 21 Pilots music definitely won't be for everyone, and that's okay. But I admire their ability to do so many different things over the years, and I sincerely can't wait to see what they do next. I will say, they are the only band that has gotten me out of bed as quick as I do when I'm running late for work or school.
What do you mean by that?
With excitement.
Oh, okay.
Like, as I mentioned when Jumpsuit and Nico and Niners came
out.
Oh,
yeah.
I've mentioned it before on the podcast, but, like, I saw that they uploaded something, and I went, huh?
Yeah.
When new music is released, I go absolutely feral, and that's something that's truly special.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I never talk about it in here. I think I do in like maybe our top lore video.
Top heavy.
But top heavy.
One of my favorite titles.
Yes, yes, top heavy. Yeah, I have a whole I think story of my experience with the lore as well. It just. That was so good when that shit came out.
It was.
Anyways, yes, my overall thoughts. There's not another band quite like 21 Pilots. Their distinct genre-blending sound with emphasis on piano and drums is iconic to them, and is some shit that I really fucking enjoy. If you haven't noticed, we are extremely biased with this band. But I feel like everybody has to have at least one group like that where they are extremely biased towards. I've gotten to the point where the fuck did that just go? I've gotten to the point where I can absolutely see the flaws in their music, especially on some of their earlier stuff, but I still greatly appreciate the amount of passion both Tyler and Josh put into this group. These two are powerhouses of performers, both live and in the album setting, and their music means the world to so many different people, and I think that says a lot in general about the types of songs that they make. Yeah, I'm a ride or die 21 Pilots stan, and I will not deny that. These fellas just make music that inspires me and also makes me feel comfortable. It's honestly been hard to try and talk about these tracks in an objective manner because they're just so ingrained into my musical knowledge and experience at this point. But I think that's okay because at the end of the day, it's my opinion, and having biases is a large part of having an opinion. I like the way that 21 Pilots makes me feel, and that's that. Just don't come to me when looking for an objective opinion on the next 21 Pilots album. What the fuck? Goddamn autocorrect.
On the next teeny
one Pilots album. Yeah, don't come to me looking for objective opinions on 21 Pilots albums because I will not give them to you. Yeah. And speaking of that, there's been rumors for a while now that their next record will wrap up the Trench storyline in a trilogy fashion.
Those aren't rumors. Tyler's yeah.
Okay. There's been confirmed sayings from Tyler, and that they will be returning to a sound that's a little closer to that of Trench. I do think that this would be a good move for them, both commercially and critically, because Saya, I don't even really think had a huge hit on it. Shy Away, I think did.
Saturday was on the radio for a while.
Was it? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, but even then, it's not oh, I've heard that song. That song's right. And I think it may have gotten less play than Trench in overall. Definitely. Trench has a lot of plays on it, which surprises me.
It's all us.
Yeah, it's all me. But I think both commercially and critically, it would be a good move for them to go back to that Trench level of sound. And I think the fan base will enjoy it a lot too. Mm-hmm. I just hope that whatever we get will be something that will make Skilled and Icy still sound like a necessary portion of the trilogy. I hope it just doesn't sound like a weird oddball out. And as for the next record, I personally think it would be... after the record after this next one that wraps up the trilogy, I personally think it would be super cool to see them go into a more focused style for an album. In a genre that they haven't really messed with before. All their albums have you never know what you're getting from track to track, with the genres and stuff. I think it'd be cool to just see a consistent project from them. This could maybe be something more rock oriented or something that plays with ambience more, because some of the shit the Trees and Heathens mashup that they did in the live performance, fucking beautiful. Yeah. I'd love to see that, or maybe even experimental. That would be kind of nuts, but that would be cool.
Yeah. Shoegaze 21 Pilots.
I am down. I just think it'd be really cool to see Tyler and Josh create an entire work in a focused genre, because we haven't really witnessed something like that from them as of yet now. But until then, I will keep consistently playing these albums to feel something. And also I wanted to add too that I think it would be a decent idea for them to even just include Paul Meany as like a main member of the band, because I think I'm not entirely sure on Mute Math's standings, but I think Mute Math at this point is just Paul Meany, if I remember correctly. I don't think like he has many bandmates. I think like you know, they're an older band, so like they've all, you know, grown up and shit. And I think, I don't know, I think he would probably accept that, and I think it would be a really good move for them just going forward, having a really good synth person and shit on their, because Redecorate was a Paul Meany track on Scale and Icy, and it sounds amazing. And Saturday is also a Paul Meany one, and like, as much as I'm iffy on Saturday, the production is really good on it. So
I said it in my overall thoughts, but their music videos are really something else.
Oh, that's another thing too. Their music videos are insane.
It's fucking crazy the things they do. Like when the Shy Away music video dropped and it had all those cool like visuals of like all the colors and lights and shit, I thought that was CGI. That's fucking, those are light platforms above and below him. It's insane. And then Jumpsuit filmed in like the Netherlands or something.
I think it was Iceland.
It's fucking crazy. They go to lengths to make their videos gorgeous and then sometimes mean something.
And then sometimes you get something like Choker that has a pretty, you know, simple concept to it.
Silly.
It's silly. Dude, Josh running out of that shop with a fucking shotgun is still one of my favorite things I've seen.
It's so good. The fucking the live stream they put together.
Oh god.
And this is the band you have to see live before you die. They are some of the most top-notch performers that have ever done this shit.
And Brad Taste in Music, we talk about him a lot here, and his 21 Pilots reactions are phenomenal, by the way. Actually have nostalgia for those reactions. But he's, I don't want to say the biggest 21 Pilots hater, but he's probably the biggest critic of 21 Pilots that there is. And he fucking loves their live shows. Every time they do something live, whether it be the MTV thing or the live stream, or I think he said he's been to like at least 6 of their concerts or something with Tina.
Now that he's got a girlfriend that's a stan, like a certified stan.
Fiance, that's a stan.
Fiance, like, I think we talked about it here, but there was like that cool light thing they did at the concert from Mulberry Street.
Oh yeah.
Like Tina and her friends set that all up. They cut out all the pieces of paper. And it went crazy, and it was done for multiple different concerts. Like, so, you know, Brad is in the hands of a 21 Pilots stan. So,
even so, like, I think they've made it kind of clear before that like he will shit on her music if need be. But like even I mean he does shit on 21 Pilots still. But even so, like he loves those live shows. Like he's talked about it before. Like they put on really good performances, and there's nothing quite like a 21 Pilots show. Like,
they always do something different too.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And the crowd energy is insane with them too. We saw them at like a smaller show last year. It was a smaller venue.
The Aragon Ballroom.
Aragon Ballroom, which is a great. I've been there for we were there for John Bellion as well. I mean like. It was like a pretty packed pit, and like at first I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, but dude, there's nothing quite like that. No. Like being like in that group of people jumping around to like Lane Boy or some shit. Like it's like, dude, what the fuck?
we stood for like 10, 11 hours that day. And I would do it a million times if it was for 21 Pilots. Their shows are so fucking insane. I love it so much.
Yeah, I think that's a good tangent to go on. Their live shows are a great part. Like, but my main point was saying that is that even a lot of like their haters will say that they put on a good show.
Whether it's from the pit or the nosebleeds, you're gonna have a good time.
Exactly, and that's. I think that's saying something about the music itself too. If it can do that kind of magic live, I think maybe sometimes their stuff does get a little lost in a studio setting, but. To me, that doesn't matter. But I see the complaint of it.
All right. So,
but
album rankings.
Album ranking. I guess I'll go first. My album ranking, Trench number 1. What? But then I would go Vessel, and then 21 Pilots, then Scaled and Icy, then Blurry Face, and then Regional at best. And then do we usually give the ratings right afterwards? Okay. And then for an overall band rating, I did 2 this time because I was feeling 2 very distinct numbers. My personal rating for them all, biases included. My personal rating is like a light 9 because I love this band so much, and basically anything they do I will eat up. But the actual rating, if I'm trying to be objective, and like I think this is mostly from evening out my scores of each of the albums, is about a strong 7, which also feels correct to me. So yeah, I made that distinction.
My album ranking is Trench. What? Vessel. What? And then I got Blurry Face, Skilled and Icy, 21 Pilots, and Regional at Best.
Okay.
But there is a large margin between 21 Pilots and Regional at Best.
Yeah.
And my personal ranking is also a light 9. And my rating is a decent 7.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So like we're pretty even there. And I'm guessing you're slightly lowering of Regional at Best. Probably.
Yeah. But that was very fun.
It was. Yeah.
We obviously it was gonna be because
Yeah. Even though we made the joke a lot that we've never talked about 21 Pilots on this podcast before, it has been a little while, so I think we need one every now and then.
Just get it out of
well,
our
I guess
system.
we did have the tier list like a few months ago, but it's okay.
Like a couple months, maybe a month and a half.
Well, we've done like 4 of those now, haven't we?
Just 21 Pilots.
21 Pilots, Billy, Nothing But Thieves.
And that's it.
Okay, I guess we've done. Okay, so like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Well, 4 because we're about.
I guess.
No, we are not about to film another one. Yes. I'm sorry.
Continuity.
We will film another one next week.
Yes.
Yes.
Black Friday.
Yes, on Black Friday. After Thanksgiving. At Walmart.
At 2 a.m.
Yes. 2 a.m. podcast challenge at Walmart.
don't call Walmart at 3 a.m.
Yeah, because we're there. Anyways.
Yeah. So you want to hop into Song of the Week?
We probably should. It is you.
And how far are we at?
We are hour 26.
Not too bad.
Not awful. I think it's worth pulling up the playlist just to make sure we don't do a repeat.
Definitely.
I don't know what song I'm going to choose, so good luck to you. That's not what I want. All right, so in the playlist, we've got Ride, Mute Math. We've got Lame Boy, Redecorate, Chlorine from the live stream. We've got Morph, Heathen's Trees from the live stream. Good Day, Mulberry Street, Choker, and Shy Away. Can you tell when Skilled and Icy came out?
All right. I'm gonna go with something off a Trench. If you can muster that. If you can,
I hate that album.
Me too. I'm gonna go with one of the songs that surprised me with how much I loved it right off the bat. I'm gonna go with "Cut My Lip."
All right,
by 21 Pilots.
Sick.
All right, "Cut My Lip" by 21 Pilots.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Mike?
I love that song. Yeah, I mean, the production on that one is nuts. I think I've talked about it before, but that was one of my least favorites when I first listened to the album. Grew on me so hard. Like, Tyler's vocals are so good on there, and that switch up in the second half is just nut-worthy. Yeah. I could come to that.
I have come to that.
Yes.
It's fucking amazing. I love that song so much. Yeah. And it just has stayed up in my rankings forever. Dude, It's so good. But what are you gonna go with?
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of different routes I was thinking about for this. At first, I was going to do Redecorate because I'm like, oh, that song grew on me. And then I read off the playlist, and there's 6 tracks from Skill and Icy on there. I was like, should I do something from Trench? No, we have some Trench in there. Vessel, not quite. I think I actually kind of want to highlight an older one of theirs because I do love that first record a lot. I have a picture of it hanging up right on the wall there. I want to highlight one from there. So I'm going to go with Trapdoor by 21 Pilots.
You watch him fall through a bladed trapdoor.
All right, Trapdoor by 21 Pilots. What'd you think?
God, it's so good, dude.
Yeah.
Such a good song.
Yeah.
I love his vocal performance on that song.
Yeah. No, that's probably my favorite on that album. I think that's the most fully realized of the sound that they go for on that record. The vocal performance is great. The chorus is great. The build up that does afterwards is
Yeah, I love when it breaks down
great too.
and the bass is just worm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's so hard.
It's
so good. Yeah. Yeah, Trapdoor. Great song. 21 Pilots. Great band.
Yes. All right. We got to close this one out, though.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing another bracket next week, which we are definitely not filming in advance.
Definitely not.
Right after this, pretty much.
We are driving back here next Friday.
Yeah. But we're going to be doing John Bellion as a bracket.
Yeah.
So get excited for that.
Yeah.
It was a major fucking blast from the past this week for us, music-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoyed that. But, you know, if you'd like to see us on YouTube, we're here for you.
I exist.
Sadly.
All right. Maybe I'll be here next week. We'll see.
But if you don't want to see us and just want to hear our beautiful voices, you can listen to us wherever you find your podcasts. Mm-hmm. We're all over the place. Spotify, Apple Music, and a couple other stragglers there. Mm-hmm. If you would like to listen to our songs of the week, we have 3 playlists. We have one for each of us individually, me and Mike. And then the other one is combined with both of ours, along with our guests' songs, as we've had over the episodes. You can listen to Trapdoor or Cut My Lip.
Yep.
And, you know, the other 7 21 Pilots songs that are included in there. And if you'd like to find us other places, you can find Mike everywhere, dude. He's everywhere. He's right behind you.
Always.
Look out, MILF. What? But you can find him on YouTube. You can find him on TikTok, Twitter, while it's still there. Instagram. Album of the year. Go listen to his music. He goes by Plaintive. Coping Mechanism came out earlier this year, and it's a fucking banger, dude. Go listen to it. Go listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What he said.
And then you can find me some places too. I have a album of the year. I have a Letterboxd where I review movies. I have a Instagram review page, which I don't use at all, but it's there. You can look at the old stuff. I run the TikTok and the Twitter for the podcast. So yeah, and I'm right in front of you. So look up. Ooh. Boo! Boo!
He's crawling in the corner like a big old spider.
Yeah. I'm crawling up backwards and my head's turned around.
Yes.
Nightmare, nightmare, nightmare.
It's a signature move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets the MILFs gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
But we will see you next week. Have a good Thanksgiving. If you don't celebrate, have a good week.
Yeah. Okay.
Love you.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.